Well, I came up with trying to understand when you paint something like this, and then you look at your history of paintings over the last couple of years. In doing my PhD in cognitive language development, I came across um, when I wanted to design the book, I did a lot of graphic design, and though I painted before, what I suddenly started doing was way like it's like going from you know doodling to well to this. I'm not sure if you could see. I could when I look through the camera, I can see that but to pieces. I did like 195, 98 paintings in a few months, and some of them crazy, amazing. Um, this one is the Bolshoi Ballet in movement, rapidement. Um, I watched a documentary, and they had pictures, and the ballet, the dancers were moving so fast that all you got was movement of the body and of course the tutus, and so this is what it became. Um, I also did strange things like old records um, that were from the 50s and 60s and 1950s and 60s, 70s, whatever. And I painted them and baked them and turned them into um, artwork to go with pieces. I painted on chalkboards where a student had left an entire pharmacology, um, his studies for his exams, and then I painted on the actual bacteria and viruses. um, anyway, and then I began to use the squares and stuff like that. So, um, but and this is a sudden, this is like me deciding I'm going to paint and continue doing my work. Now, this is where I began to use this pixelization idea. It's an ode to the Dupont subway station, um, and it went from there to this Klimt like. I mean, it's extraordinary. I looked at it, and it was painted during the time of the Paris attacks, and what was motivated by. I mean, I didn't. I did not set out to paint this, nor did I. I mean, it happened, and also the, you know, sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, which is what happened with France and Paris. And one of the trees, literally, like I was just painting, and the next thing I knew, I painted. The tree became France and became and this is an ode to the Bataclan generation, and I realized I have to give this away. Like, it has to go to someone, or that was part of this thing, because, well, first of all, it's a very large painting. It dominates a wall, and it's a really something of an optical illusion. As you get closer, you'll see it's all gold foil, and many, many, many shades of gold were put into it, and 2 packages of gold foil, and it's going to take some more. But what I'm going to take a look at is that it is actually ridiculously almost three-dimensional in places. It stands out from the wall, and parts of the when I use, and even okay, from this angle you can definitely see the Klimt influences. Okay, it's kind of remarkable. But what I was trying to say earlier was that with cognitive development, our brains tend to work in certain ways that repeat themselves because we're human beings. So we will end up doing stuff even though Klimt was an extraordinary artist, and I'm not there, but this is just saying that we could, instinctively reproduce work of a you know. But going back to France and Liberté, Egalite, Fratenite ou l'amour. Now that was actually the original French motto. Robespierre changed it in 1790 after the French Revolution, and he removed la mort because he at the time said it was related to acts of terror. And when this terrorist attack came back, they started to reinsert la mort, which is quite surrealistic. The people that I want to give this to, if I can, would be the Eagles of Death Metal. When I watched them discuss what they went through, you are so affected, but when you see people that have existed that went through this, you just cannot continue emotion.
While reporting on the recent horrific terror attacks,
so
Paris,
here is
we realized with a shock that the band playing at the Bataclan, the venue where 89 people lost their lives, was actually the...
Everybody started grabbing chairs, they barricaded the door.
Yeah.
There's like a little mini fridge.
This dude here,
And
I mean,
someone had left
his emotionalism, it was so astonishing.
For like a post-show
See?
thing. They had that
Oh.
to use in case
as a weapon.
Yeah, because that's it. That's all we had. You know, there was a woman in front of me who
I can't even watch this
scared
still
because she was bleeding from
because
she got
it's
shot
so emotional.
right here.
Anyway, let's just change the topic for a second. Let's look at some pretty pictures to try and... Anyway, so this explosion of artwork that, I actually donated it to one of the universities here in Canada, to one of their frat houses. Now, this piece here was sought after the Rainbow Buddha, and it actually has some of the Klimt-inspired work. But it's extraordinarily beautiful, and the gold foil, the gold leafing was used. But this painting here is really got gold. Even through the camera cannot. It's so it's not diffusing it very well. It's just glimmering. And you know what? I hate to tell you this, but I'm gonna have to put some more. I'm layering this to such a degree that. And layering it also with resin, so that they say you're not supposed to do things, but with artwork, who really cares? I'm layered the resin on top of the gold foil, on top of the resin, on top of the gold foil, on top of the resin, on top of the gold foil, because it has to create a density that and a luster that will stay forever. So I'm gonna go back in the next few days or so, I suppose, and put in some more gold and then more resin, but it's so when I looked at the recent footage of when death metal went back to Paris with U2, I was looking at the painting and dreaming of where it can go and how I can get it there, and I'm going to just give it to them and see if it was not a plan. Did I know? I didn't. Again, the Klimting of the piece is really spectacular. Like, you cannot believe this stuff, But it belongs to somebody else, and it belongs to people who went through something so horrific that it marked and changed their lives. And then something like this, if I give it to them, they can donate it to somebody else and turn it into, this, this set the world on fire. Okay? And it's beyond anything that I or anybody has dealt with in a very long time. So guys, Eagles of Death Metal, I will be contacting you and offering this to you because, wow. That's all I could say. Again, change topic. I could break out into like watching this stuff again. The Sun Mandala. These are an 8-foot by 10-foot paint. 8x4? 8x4? I'm sorry. It was much bigger than that. A Kandinsky mural that I did. I painted the decks. A kitchen, a wall in the kitchen, a door that had been replaced. It looks, Some of the pieces here are way the Van Goghish impressionistic work. Gee, what the mama, I tell you. Look at that sunflower. I had grown red sunflowers, and I was telling my friends, and they said, well, sunflowers are not red. And I said, well, I had to show them my pictures. They are red. They're red now. This is winter, Liviere. It's a blast of winter coming off. It's actually a slate countertop. It was very heavy, but this is what it became. You know, this is actually pure glass, and I painted over it. Very fragile, but it's an ode to the elephant, and they're taking it to Tuscan. Unfortunately, if you see what they do to elephants, I don't know how people can do it. This is Christ, the graffiti of Christ. You know, some of these paintings are. This is the Basquiat that I created, which is, if you see it in real life, stunning. It's just amazing. I have videos and stuff that you can take a look at if you want. And this is a Van Gogh and Frida Kahlo sort of esque. Maybe George O'Keeffe, I don't know, but there's lots of influences. Some of these pieces are just so gorgeous and delicious to look at, and you know, I don't even understand where all this came from. Oh my God, the red ballet dancer. I mean, she was extraordinary. And the plates were used, the vinyl records were turned into offshoots that could spin. So they were all, it was like a massive installation. Some montage stuff. Yes, just, by the way, take a look at this. This is drywall, literally drywall, that I used. I photographed and then I photoshopped. And I knew from looking at it that for what the camera could do to it, and it's pretty extraordinary. It's a beautiful piece. Drywall. Oh well, there you go. Parliament Hill in Ottawa. And it's a photograph that I was able to Photoshop into the most extraordinary colors. This piece, I've had my artwork stolen, which is unbelievable. Like, I don't understand why people would just take the stuff. This is another piece that used the pixelization, but look at what it did. It's so beautiful. But I sent it to Portugal, and I believe when it got stolen. Oh well. This is ridiculous. This piece here is quite fantastic for those who are like into the Day of the Dead, where the ghosting of the children to come came through the bride, and it's pretty spectacular. You know, traditional sort of floral. Unbelievable. Anyway. So guys, Eagles of Death Metal, I think, well,
saw two guys on front. And
what can we do to make this better? And one of the things, of course, as you know, music and art. So if I could get it to you, I would myself, but unfortunately I had a really bad diagnosis recently, and maybe 6 months from now I may not be here. So I wanted to make sure that this baby got to a place where people could enjoy. Interestingly enough, if you can, I'm trying to think, can I turn the painting, can I turn this? Or is it going to be this? No, I don't know. I was trying to show the lover's aspect of it, because the curvature, if you look at Klimt's work, he has a lot of nude models. So if you look at, a woman lying on her side, and the indentation of the back and the hip area, it's sort of there. Of course, if you've got an artistic eye, you can see that. Anyway, folks, Eagles of Death Metal, thank you so much for your considerations and for your experience. It footnoted history. So I'm sending it to you. God bless. Bye-bye.